Well, I wonder if an assurance from the Bureau de Change is enough to stabilize the Naira. Also, I mean, yeah, that lawmaker right there, he both cried and laughed. I wonder. Well, let's find out the views of the Chief Executive Officer of the Financial Derivatives Company, Mr. Bismark Rewane. Mr. Rewane, good morning. Once again, we're on the Naira, and we heard that the President of the Bureau de Change in Abuja assuring us that the Naira will not fall any further. But what are your thoughts concerning this approach by the government using the EFCC and forming a task force, you know, to raid the BDCs?
I don't. What is the offense that they have committed in the first place? I heard something about dollar racketeering, mutilation of notes, and all that. Is that the problem? And I heard the BDC man saying that we'll ensure that the rate will come down. But then they want to ensure that the rate went up in the first place. Markets work. When the supply is in excess of demand, the value of that currency appreciates. When the demand is in excess of the supply, the currency depreciates. This doesn't happen in other countries, raiding markets and all of that. It's not. You're only making it more difficult because there's what we call the illicit premium in a currency. Leave them to do what they want. A speculator can make money, and a speculator definitely can and will lose money. So what we are trying to achieve here is to get a currency that is misaligned from its fair value. And the only way you can bring a currency in alignment with its fair value is to address the fundamental issues that are attacking that currency. So there's speculation, there's panic, there's fear, there's round tripping, there's all of these things. Those are as a result of market distortions. So let's not run away from the fact that this currency is now an embattled currency. And people have got to the point where there's not an effective price. Even if today it's trading at 1,915 naira to a dollar, 2,300 naira to a pound. But when you ask for the currency, you can't find it because they do not know whether you're an agent or law enforcement agent or not. Allow things settle down, and the true value of the currency will emerge. Definitely, it's not 1,900 and 2,000, but out of fear, panic, and front-loading of demand, we are beginning to see massive distortions. And look at what happened. The bond auction was undersubscribed. The treasury bill auction was oversubscribed. Now that if you mop up liquidity, it is that liquidity that they use to buy. So you have to ensure that the effective interest rates will actually rise towards the rate, not clearly to where the inflation rate is, but moving in that direction. That is being done right now. All this over what I call misguided enthusiasm of law enforcement agents chasing shadows, right? It's not going to. If anything, it's going to be counterproductive. Very counterproductive. Let the markets settle. And when you have enough supply, intervene. If the central bank wakes up today and say we are going to intervene with $500 million, all the Bureau de Change will run into the bush. Because the supply will be so much. And imagine the Naira equivalent of $500 million coming out of the system. All of a sudden, you use it to stabilize the Naira, use it to manage excess liquidity. And the goods that will come in, if imported, will actually bring down prices. So it's simple and straightforward, but it has its own complexity because...
So Mr. Rewane, obviously the long-term solution is supply. But of course, the source of that supply is the problem. But what do you think about the suggestion of Mr. Laje there that, you know, if the whole system, everybody who is dealing with FX, if that system is digitized, then, you know, this might bring transparency before we have a sustainable supply?
I respectfully disagree. We do not need, all you need, if the central bank announces today that we are going to, and it's not a long-term thing, if you announce we are going to have an auction, open auction, everybody bids of $200 or $500 million today, you will see, and it will happen. Maybe the first day there will be this price, the next day there will be an auction. We auction treasury bills every 2 weeks. We auction bonds. So there's no big deal about auctioning foreign currency that is there, if it is there. If it is not there, then we need to go into the markets to raise that money one way or the other and sell it. You do not, you intervene in your currency when it is misaligned. The misalignment can be transient, it could be structural. And if both, then you now have a fundamental problem. Whether you have it digital or not, doesn't doesn't increase the supply. What you need is supply or reduce demand. The way to reduce demand is to tighten money supply and increase interest rates. This is not a rocket science. This is very simple. And I wonder why people are making it so complex.
But we see the money supply has increased. I think the central bank said about 76.36%. Where is this coming from? I've seen some conversations because of the new notes, the old one and the new one, and all of that.
Cash in circulation is only about 6%. It's about 3 trillion naira. Total money supply is now 97 trillion naira. So every time when you monetize your assets, right, and you have the FAC, you pay contractors, essentially palliatives, you are printing money. And when the money is printed, I mean, not in physical cash form, you are making payments to contractors and you're doing all of these things. As long as you are doing that, the money supply increases. That money supply will chase, 1, goods in the market, pushing up inflation, 2, foreign exchange, pushing up the exchange, and 3, money laundering activities of real estate. So you go all over the place, people are building and all that. So the way to control money supply is to rein in government spending, making it more transparent, ensure that many things happen. But those are some long-term things. But the loose monetary conditions are totally different from tight monetary policy. You fight loose monetary conditions by tightening money policy, and then there'll be an effect of that because interest rates will increase, people will save more, consume less, and the currency will stabilize over time. But let me tell you, there's no quick fix for this.
So we can, I mean, is it safe to say it has to be that next week we're having MPC Monday and Tuesday?
Yes.
That means it's going to be a tight stance
definitely.
From the MPC.
We have no choice. They must tighten well and have the effect. So
when you say well, what range?
I would say, I'm not a member of the Monetary Policy Committee, but I would suggest that nothing less than 200 basis points will send a signal to markets that, yes, this is what's happening. We've seen it on the Treasury bill primary auction. We've seen the bond auction at that rate. And then you need to go in with special stabilization securities to tighten up this thing so that the liquidity is there. And then also start an auction system. No matter how small it is, we will find that the rates will begin to, a true market will emerge. And for God's sake, stop all of this chasing of shadows of BDCs and EFCC. The EFCC, I mean, what crime is being committed? The foreign exchange law allows you to buy, willing buyer, willing seller, and nobody mutilating currency. What currency? So I think the earlier we stop doing dumb things, the better for the economy. Let us be much more circumspect, much more rational, and much more reasonable, because we cannot use one solution to create another problem. They should desist from all of this nonsense.
All right, Mr. Rewane, thank you so much for sharing your perspective with us this morning, Chief Executive Officer of Financial Derivatives Company.